Just if you ever do want to take a photo of a cool guy, using a laptop,
Do you know a cool workplace?
we're here for
you
you.
got connections in?
Yeah.
We probably know a cool person.
Yeah. One.
Between us.
Yeah.
Between. Yeah.
I mean, we won't know he's cool, but
Yeah.
because it's everyone will
you
know.
just follow us around and be like, that guy. Yeah.
You're talking about Sam, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What?
What does it mean to have a human in the loop?
Human in the loop. Human in the loop. What in the world is a human in the loop? Human in the loop.
AI in the loop, humans in charge.
Welcome to Human in the Loop.
Welcome to Human in the Loop, Shaun.
Thank you.
Shaun,
Glad I'm here.
we are happy to have you here. We've been trying to get you here for a very long time, but you are a hard man to pin down because he's in Berlin, he's in Tokyo, he's in Paris. He's a mysterious man of international fame and glory.
He's also trying to avoid the 6-month continuous thing with the IID.
Yeah.
On the run, hustling. Yeah.
He's just Danny texts me once a month when you come in the podcast. When you come in the podcast, and that's after the 6th time. I was like, oh man, he's not gonna stop.
It got weird.
do this.
It got weird.
Yeah,
It got
yeah.
weird.
It got weird.
Yeah.
It got weird. But
Emotional blackmail. It wasn't. Yeah.
I'm really excited. I am the biggest fan of your product, have been for ages, was loving and using it before I even knew that Rush had a tech relationship. So let me tell the viewers what it is.
Very cool.
Shaun Singh is the founder and CEO of Death to Stock DTS, which is a visual production and licensing platform. DTS operates as a continuous production engine, hundreds up to 500 new images each month, and they are not your boring and basic stock imagery. We're talking like high editorial, fringe culture trend, forward thinking. It's definitely not your boring average people that you see on every single stock site. So each image is produced by cultural signals, something that a brand can license and deploy immediately. And they have an Auckland base with Shaun, the founder, but you've got people pocketed around the world monitoring trends and just like the edge of cultural, relevance.
Yeah.
What else can I say? Berlin, New York, London, LA, Tokyo, and Paris absolutely sounds like a fashion house. And an AI-driven landscape gives you guys taste and timing, amplification and scale, I guess. So we're going to break down how you stay cool and trendy and human, and then amplify that with AI. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's good.
But also the reason I was harassing him is this guy is one of the, and this is coming from me and Hamish, this guy is one of the most prolific users of AI I have ever met. So
You're like blinking as you said
Just,
that.
yeah. Don't,
Shaun,
don't promise anything.
like Shaun usually tells me about an AI thing. Yeah. So
That's kind of an interesting juxtaposition because cultural relevance and being trendy is so tapped into what is authentic and human.
Yes. Yeah. But the AI is really driven from being incredibly lazy at the core. I think good entrepreneurs are real lazy.
you're always
people.
trying to palm off stuff, right?
Yeah. So it used to be like human.
Alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember this morning? This morning we did a brief live podcast at Into AI Summit. And I was trying to remember Larry Walls. Larry Walls is the inventor of Perl, the programming language.
Okay.
And he has the 3 virtues of programmers, of good programmers, good engineers, which are they are lazy, they are impatient, and they are, what did gods punish you for? Starts with E.
Envious?
No, the
Erogenous?
Greek
No.
gods were particularly famous for punishing humans for their ego. I remember
Hubris.
Hubris. Thank you.
That's
So
not
they are-
Yeah. I thought I was
close enough.
So spelling, not
so-
a strong suit.
So
Did you mean?
It is not. So good programmers are lazy, impatient, and hubristic, right?
Yeah.
Lazy means that they will work to automate. They'll work 80 hours to automate something that takes them 40 hours because it will save their time next time.
Yeah.
Impatient means that they will do that straight away and they'll fix their problems now rather than just leaving stuff until later, because if you're lazy and not impatient, things just don't get done. But if you're lazy, impatient, you get stuff done really quickly. And hubristic to think you could do anything. Do you think that also works for CEOs?
For creatives, just also time blindness. You know, there was a famous architect who said, if an architect starts on their job straight away, the odds of it being really good work is quite low. They usually need to sit, be really bored, wait for inspiration, and usually it's like flat, and then right to the end it ramps up. So you can kind of track if an idea was good enough if they started too early.
And
Which
is
is
that how
interesting.
you have always been?
Yeah, even the teams like that will sit on an idea, like Mischief, who's a big influence from us. You guys familiar with Mischief? Right? They would sit on an idea for a year. Because we always thought they were super trend focused. They would have an idea, execution must be 90 days, but they would sit on an idea for a year. Because if it's a good idea, great ideas are long tail effects. So sit on it for a while, let it build for a bit. Because being early is horrible with a creative idea. It would just
Well,
sit-
even with a business with technology idea. Like,
yeah.
It's the greatest sin is just like, hey, this is a good idea. And then you execute, and then like 5 years for the market to kind of go, hey, this is a good idea.
Yeah. And a great way to promote is, we try not to do stock photos, but every stock photo is kind of built with cultural timing because that's what a brand wants. They don't want pretty content. They want to join the cultural conversation, but they don't know how to do it. And so it's like, hey, we have these little brand assets that you can tap into to actually jump into the game and join that conversation. So yeah, stock photos, but much more of a production engine sitting on top of like this trend and taste layer that we kind of play with.
Can you take us back to the start of founding DTS? What were you doing at the time? How long had you sat on the idea? I've heard pockets of the story as to like the moment where you're like, I got to do something about this.
Yeah, there's so many stories. I'm trying to like condense it all into one. But really, I met a guy on Twitter, right? Name's David, good friend of mine. He was working on Death of Stock. I actually had another startup, and he was supplying me photos. And he said, hey, if you need photos for your blog or your company, come talk to me. And he started sending me some photos like, hey, you're doing something really cool here. We should start a blog, right? Or an email list. And we started an email list. We got like 50,000 subscribers in like that first 2-month period. And it was really just us learning how to use a camera ourselves. And we realized how big the market was. And we thought the photos were really good. And that's why they were working. But it wasn't because the photos were good. It's because we were going and picking up these little niche communities around America. And people were looking to tap into these little subcultures. And from there, we kind of ramped up.
Was that like the inside of, I think this is interesting and worth knowing about? Other people must feel the same way.
I wish, and I think a lot of founders rewrite
I'll
their
give you
history.
so much
Yeah,
credit.
no,
You're
there's
like,
a confirmation bias.
Yeah, to be honest, it was just
Yeah.
pure luck, right? It was an accidental business. We were working in fintech spaces and software. We didn't think photos was actually really feasible, right? But it was growing by itself constantly with word of mouth versus our other companies, paid ads, promo, PR, and just growing really slowly. So we're like, maybe we should pivot. If it's this easy by itself, what if we actually went full time into this?
It's the dream.
Yeah. But to be honest, I've always been obsessed with culture and media. So that's kind of worked in our favor. And to be honest, I was horrible at tech. You know, I was like a wannabe kind of tech entrepreneur, but media, much better.
Right.
It comes
'Cause
way
It
natural.
was just the aesthetic. Like,
Yeah. And it was way easier to hire people, getting great photographers on board, great trend researchers on board, but the hardest thing was entering an industry as lame as stock photos. Right? There's nothing sexy, nothing cool about stock photos.
sorry, I stalk.
No, but it's
Shutterstock,
like, it's so true. You're
all
kind
of
of like,
them.
there are all these industries where you're like, that's a solved problem. And then Zero did the same thing. And like Trade.me kind of did the same thing. Like a lot of great stories of like tech companies is kind of like Airbnb.
Yeah.
Like it was just a hotel booking site. Like how did it become a thing? And it's like whenever people think that it's a solved problem, a lot of people kind of just gloss over that.
Yeah.
And they just assume that there's there's nothing to bring to the table. But actually, in most cases, there's.
And most of those products are mutually exclusive, right? You got one Asana, one task management software, and you can't move. That's why we're closer to digital fashion,
Yeah.
right? Because you can have you're probably wearing 5 different brands right now.
Yep.
You're not just saying everything has to come from this one place. So we're much more in that space. So yeah, you can go to the Getty, Shutterstock for the real generic department store kind of feel.
Yeah.
But we're much more in that boutique kind of edge.
Yeah, I think the trick is it's solved, but solved in a way no one's happy with. Everyone's like, this is just how the industry is. Everybody, it's a shit product, and you're never going to get better.
Yeah,
right. Like Uber with taxis was the same thing, right? Like, sometimes you're just not going to be able to get a taxi, right? You have to call this guy, and he'll decide whether to send one out, or and they've caused their own problems. But it was like there's a solved space, but it's bad.
Not great.
And not,
Yeah.
I mean, having worked in advertising for decades, you would build in stock photography search time to your cost estimate for a client. And then you'd have to kind of extrapolate the cost of every stock photo you might want to flesh out a website or even just a concept,
Yeah.
just to get a concept sold across the line. And it's interesting because you've carved out this like beautiful niche, and now what the stock photography companies were making their business on is the part that could be replicated with AI, and your part is the protected, beautiful diamond that you would pay for.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I wish we saw that wave coming. Pure luck, right? But yeah, fashion. I think tech is taking the same way now. It's going to be a bit more fashion driven, just as coding becomes a little bit of a commodity, right? We're going to see
A little
software.
bit of a commodity.
That's me being kind, but 100% a commodity, just for the record. But like, spinning up. I think software is the new media in that play, right? We're spinning out some cool vibe coded apps that are just meant to live online for like 20, 30 days, and then like disappear.
Are they secure?
No, that's why I got Rush, best guys in the game.
True or false? You were an accountant in past life.
Yeah, so I studied finance and accounting, hated it. Started in an accounting firm, wasn't good at it, but it grew. But what I was really good at was the accounting firm was actually got my first following for this accounting firm, which is a hybrid tech and accountant setup. But my first following was in Columbus, Ohio, right? Not in New Zealand, right? Which was random. But I also realized I could sell over the internet.
Yeah.
Right. This was like in 2015, 16. And then once we secured our first branding deal with Playboy, I've got this great check. I was living at home at the time, and I've got this great check on my wall, which was, Wilshire Boulevard, selling and the check addressed to my, childhood home when I was selling on my childhood bedroom. And I just realized they had no idea I was selling a licensing deal from my family home, And I was like, oh, what else can I do? Who else can I reach out to? Who else can I hire?
What did you sell to Playboy?
Just stock photos, just for the record, just the stock photos.
Just yourself?
Photos of myself.
Is there are you a centerfold, bro?
But so for the Playboy deal, they just it was really cool learning about how they run, but this is when they were trying to move away from the pornography side, much more into lifestyle. And they literally said, we have an unlimited production budget, but we're not going to spend money on our content that lives online for like 24 hours or 48 hours. We need a solid, secure, constant taste feed of visuals that we can just move really fast on our blogs and social.
Yeah.
And that's what they were kind of paying for.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah. Really random.
Yeah. And did you just like figure out the business side of this along the way?
Yeah, they were like, hey, do you guys have an agency deal? And I was like, yep. And then, what is an agency deal? We've come a long way since then. We got lawyers. Everything's perfect now.
So for anyone who hasn't already paused this video to or isn't double screening
deathtostock.com.
Deathtostock.com. Can you explain what is it actually? We keep talking about photography and stuff, but what
I've been asking Shaun this question for 7 years.
what is it?
What do you do?
So I think the easiest way to understand this is, yes, it's a stock photo platform, right? But every single asset we have, photos, videos, right, is a chance for a brand to get cultural significance or cultural relevance in the cultural zeitgeist. And we know trends and taste are leverage, right? And so while stock media solved accessibility and distribution, they never solved cultural timing, right? And so from our trend research and our taste hunters, that's what we're trying to solve for. When we have a good idea, we get it to one of our production partners in Argentina, Berlin, or LA, and get a visual, because visuals drive the internet. We know this, right? Visuals are a precursor in aesthetic before even language kind of catches up. And that's where we've kind of carved our niche.
What's the analogy? There's got to be a car analogy or a space analogy or something.
Maybe the visual critic. Right? So if the noise is all these reviews for all these hot restaurants, we're going to go through all the noise, right? And establish, we'll connect the dots for you, right? And actually give you something which is here's your Michelin star guide. Now go. Yeah. If you want to play in this game and trend sync your brand, because that's what all brands want.
So who's your typical customer? Who's hunting for these things? Are people getting the photos and using them directly on media, or are they using them for inspiration? Or
well, it's a twofold, right? So there is the window shopper, we kind of call them, who just come into our platform and look for visual inspiration, right? Which is just you guys are so good. We got a huge agency that has a membership for 20 of their designers, right? But they don't really use any of our photos, right? But they pay an enterprise deal. And it's you guys are just cutting edge in regards to where trends and taste are going. So we take your ideas and do custom production around it, or pitch our clients first, then we go build off that, right?
I mean, I'm not a stock photographer customer, right? So I've just experienced it from the point of view of hitting the platform and doing bug fixes and
Oh, yeah,
photo
yeah.
guys. But the difference I see from stock photography is always like action focused. Like it's got a guy, like the name of the photo is guy holding laptop or woman holding
You can see the
laptop. Or
Utility driven.
like it's really like we're looking for a specific visual representation of text or action or thing, right? And so there's a huge amount of it, but it's incredibly generic because it needs to work in every situation. You need the man holding the laptop to work, whether it's on a corporate website or a fun blog post or whatever. It still has to fit, so it has to be really bland in style and focused on semantic content. Whereas the stuff on Jeff Stock is more of a vibe. You can't go in and be like, I want really cool guy holding a laptop. It's just
it's like back to the department store. Like if you want good white t-shirts, go to the department store. Good blue jeans, go to the department store. Right, and there'll be like 40 or 50 different options. Right, we're gonna cull all that, and we'll look for that like cool neon green jacket. If we're gonna play with that analogy or something a bit more edge case.
The World Boutique.
We've got utility. We've got some basic stuff.
We got like the nice candles that come from overseas. You want the diptyque? You go there.
Yeah, that's why we actually
Curation, right?
Curation. And that's why we also fit more into like the fashion space.
Yeah.
And we think of ourselves more of a fashion brand.
I've actually used beautiful photo. I mean, this is a sidebar, but our brand has like pink and blue colors and kind of like a lighting vibe. And there was a time where I was like, I'm not going to go for the random just office setup. And so I went to Death to Stock, and there was just this like incredibly vibrantly lit off-tone pink and blue, like neon lit merging of this cool woman using a laptop. And I was like, that's the vibe. And I'm wondering as well, like how much, if you're talking about like happy accidents in business, if I'm thinking 2015, what was happening around then, Instagram really started to ramp up at that time. So when you've got a culture who is becoming incredibly aesthetic and visually driven, and then you go to build a website product, do a blog. I mean, Blogger was kind of going a bit down and stuff. So you're trying to produce visual content or magazine layups or write articles. And your reference point is Instagram, but then when you go to the stock photo, it's all the whitewashed, boring, and oftenly like DEI non-interesting, racially bland, gender bland, just bland. Did Instagram taking off have a huge part to play in the upward spiral?
Definitely. Also, a lot of the free stock sites kind of like flooded the market.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was great because everyone was really worried when like Unsplash, we know them, they're great people. Unsplash started taking off. But it was great because that kind of was like our freemium model, right? Everyone was like to get started. But what happened was they're like, oh, I'm using the same photos as everyone. Where can I go to get a bit of an edge? And that's like where, like with fashion, everyone dresses the same. If they're going on to something generic like Cotton On, which I think is a great brand personally, but a real generic, very flat, very affordable. And then once you kind of refine your style for your brand, it's kind of where do I go next? What's the next step?
I own a few pieces by Carol Christian Powell, and he's really expensive. Like I don't buy them.
Is that the crazy jewelry guy?
No, that's really wrecked. But he's still pretty crazy. But like when you buy a piece from him, it comes a little book and it tells you like how many he's made. So like everything he makes is all limited edition. It's all like this is 1 of 17 or 1 of 3 or however many, right? And part of the value of buying that is knowing you're never going to run into anyone else who's wearing that same jacket.
Hamish is the trend that we like to call quiet luxury.
Yeah.
He might look like he's just wearing some plain black stuff, but there's a little bit of Rick Owens in there somewhere.
Price tag is still on the back. Real subtly.
Whereas I'm Cotton On through and through. I think this is actually a Cotton On shirt. Yeah. No, I love it.
It's great.
They have a great sustainability
honest,
rating. I checked the labels. They're always at the top.
Honestly, and they're pretty on trend. They don't really,
The clothes last.
But it's really to test, like, hey, should I get in a cargo pants? Go buy a pair from Cotton On. You kind of wear it around. You like it. Now I'm going to move up a little bit. So it's a really good analogy.
I just stay at Cotton On.
To like,
to
like Koto, who actually the stuff is made from such a sustainable fabric you can actually get compost and plant.
Are we sustain bragging?
Yeah. Sustain signal.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're the cultural.
Do you use AI? Do you use AI? Do you use?
I'm going to come to an actual question. Let me bring us back on track because this really does fascinate me. Algorithm versus cultural identity. what I wrote down is, if blaming the algorithm for the erosion of personal style is so simplistic, then what's the culprit? But I think actually the question there is, how do you create identity and authenticity when everything is being kind of like retrained on your personal preference?
Yeah.
How do you guys cut through or around that?
Yeah, blaming the algorithm is like blaming a mirror, right? It's just kind of giving in what we've put out there, right?
Nice.
And it's a really good like fallback guy, scapegoat, to be like, oh, the algorithm's doing this. But the problem right now is we're all referencing each other way too much. Right. And we've seen this in Pinterest, especially. Love Pinterest. Give they're a customer. I love you guys. But we've seen this at Pinterest a lot because there's like the Pinterest cafe, right? Or the Pinterest restaurant or the Pinterest barber, where they've all bought a great mood board because visual research became infinite. 10, 20 years ago, a visual researcher was amazing. They had the best magazines, blogs, they would go to exhibitions, fly around the world. Then all of a sudden, we got this infinite scroll in Pinterest.
Yeah.
Right. And no matter who you are, even tech guys, you guys could build a mood board of 50 images in 10, 20 minutes. Now, would it mean anything to, elevate it? Probably not. Seeing that in tandem with like code, which we can get to in a sec. But once that visual research became infinite, the power of deciding what to say no to and become an editor and curator, that became really valuable.
Ooh, that's taste.
That is taste. And taste is a real abstract term. And we can talk about what
It's
taste
also
is.
boldness, like just to
Well, it's-
reject something based on
It's
all
what
of
you
the
would like to say no to,
Yeah.
right? And we've seen this with code now where everyone that starts vibe coding cooks it up with like 20, 30 features, right? And it's just like this Frankenstein's monster, which is like, what is this? This Swiss Army knife, we just throwing crap at the wall, hoping it kind of sticks. And like the good PM role is saying, oh, we're going to say no to that. We're going to say no to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
And
gonna
say
do
no
one
is
thing really
hard,
well.
Yeah.
Ah,
It's like Coco Chanel. Look in yourself in the mirror before you leave the house and take one thing off.
Yeah. It's a great, it's a great
I've left
quote.
the house wearing just undies.
Yeah. Not literally.
High risk.
But that is the editor and curator. That's like really powerful. And it's great seeing this move towards code now because code used to be scarce, just like visual research was scarce. Now it's abundant. Code had a lot of good friction, right? Scarce. Now it's becoming abundant. So those people who know what to build and what to say no to, they're becoming tastemakers in the code front.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, taste is the move, right? That is the bottleneck. And how do you craft taste and what is taste and how do you pick a cultural moment? That's a whole different framework.
Tech can't solve that for you.
No.
That's a people thing.
Because
That's a primate thing.
Well, the thing with culture is it feels wrong before it's right. Yeah. It's just full of contradictions and juxtaposition constantly. So like the punk movement, right? Punk was super fringe, super wrong before it went mainstream.
It's the agitation, right? It's
100%.
like conformity in a primate society
Well,
is like
we've lived
critical.
these, right? Online dating, super wrong. And what would it be now? How many people are dating or married because of online dating?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? Do you guys remember being in like cafes 10 years ago and it was kind of weird seeing people take photos of their food?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Right?
I'm old enough that it was weird seeing people take photos of themselves.
Oh, yeah. And it was like,
Yeah, it's
that's
cringe.
so wrong. And now it is so normalized,
Yeah.
right? But when I was in LA in 2018, 19, everyone was taking photos of their food constantly, right?
Yeah.
And with gangs and stuff, it was so normalized to even see up a little tripod. And I was, oh, the future's here.
Yeah.
Just not kind of evenly distributed. And now it's just like norm. Asking a waiter to take photos, they've got the angles going, they know exactly what you want.
Yeah. And you no longer feel embarrassed either.
Not
like it used
embarrassed
to be.
at all.
It's distorted the experience though. Like there was a story of like a sushi chef, a really top class sushi, I think in LA, and he was really getting frustrated because his sushi restaurant, the only thing anybody ordered was like this thing he did with like a Wagyu steak slice,
Yeah.
and then like a sea urchin on top of it,
Yeah.
and it looks incredible. It's like it's got these reds and these browns and then the yellow of the sea urchin. It is the most Instagrammable food.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste anywhere near as good as it costs.
Right.
Right, like it's not a bad flavor experience, but like you got two of some of the most expensive ingredients in the world on this thing, and everyone was ordering it, and they're not even eating it.
Yeah.
Right, like just I want to order it so I can take the photo, so I can get the Instagram photo.
Yeah.
And like I know that there are restaurants who like design their spaces to have photos taken of
Very
them
smart.
rather than to eat food in, and it's like it aligns well with culture, but as old man shit yells at clouds, right? Like
Yeah.
it's changed things, and I'm people can choose what they like and what they don't like.
Yeah, I don't know if it's changed things too much because everyone's gone to cities so they can say, I've gone to Paris, right?
Yeah.
Bragging rights have always kind of been there a little bit.
Yeah.
And now you just assume, oh, they're going there for the great food. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm going there to join a cultural moment. Like we've seen a hotspot in TikTok on a cafe, bakery, and it's like, oh, I want to be part of the cultural conversation. So I'm going to go there, take a photo of me and my matcha, right? Oh, I'm going to go there with, take a photo of me and my matcha at this one location so I can post it online, but I'm not there for the actual matcha.
And we might think that this is a recent movement. It's not. Remember that story you told about people used to take pineapples around?
Pineapples. There is an entire period called the Gilded Age.
Yeah.
Yeah, in American culture. The railroads, the Carnegie, Carnegie Mellon.
Come back to
Steel-
pineapples for a sec.
Oh, you don't know about pineapples?
Well, I know what pineapples mean
We've done
now.
pineapples.
It
It was a flex.
Does a pineapple mean?
So pineapples were brought back by the Spaniards, and they had like a boat
Yeah.
that could travel fast enough to be able to bring back the pineapples, and they were still fresh.
Yeah.
And so the British developed this new boat called the Interceptor, and it was much faster. And they didn't want to go to war with Spain, but they wanted Spain to know that they had faster boats.
Yeah.
So they brought back one pineapple, gave it to their envoy,
Yeah.
who came and arrived to a banquet in Spain with a fresh pineapple.
Ah, that's why I was
Just to be
that's
like-
why I was a luxury
Yeah,
fruit.
was
and
gonna
then
say,
and then it
cultural
began
relevance.
it became cultural relevance.
Yeah.
It became a sort of a around blue blood.
Signifier of
Yeah, and blue bloods. It was like a symbol of British naval supremacy, and so it became culturally bougie to
Yeah.
have a pineapple,
Yeah.
and the entire secondary market formed where people would sell pineapples to less wealthy people.
Because you'd have it in the
Well,
middle of
maybe.
your
Oh,
life.
yeah, so rent pineapples. Yeah, there's a pineapple renter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you actually look through some of the architecture from the period, you end up with these large pineapple domed
Yeah.
buildings, and
Yeah.
so
Look at
weird.
The fence posts, you'll notice them everywhere.
Now it's a symbol for international swinger clubs, the pineapple,
Oh,
just for some random
I
reference.
mean,
Oh,
this
so
is
do you
why
walk
we have a
around-
cultural
how do you know it?
podcast.
how do you know?
Because he's a
I travel.
Oh, convenient.
I travel wherever the
excuse.
pineapples take
Yeah.
me.
There was a real small
Evidence item J on Danu and Hamish not being cool.
there was a really small trend in South America where people were putting pineapples in their grocery trolley and walking around. It was a sign to meet you people.
And bananas as well. I heard
That makes sense.
I heard once on a podcast, this is another shout out to my Blind Boy podcast. In Europe, the international symbol for where a swinging house or something or a swinging area is that you would have like a, I want to say something like akin to pampas grass, or like it was a type of bush that would have come from a tropical place and the people would have traveled and they would have brought it back. And it was like, you were the type of person that like traveled and swung. So if you had these crazy tropical plants at your house, you're the house that parties. This is
Yeah.
like in the 70s, I think.
But all these things start really wrong and weird.
Yeah.
And then some catch, some don't, which is always really fascinating,
So what about, I mean, we spoke a couple of weeks ago to James Bergen, who from Xero, who was a tech research and strategic foresight analyst. What you're talking about is cultural trend foresight, or like almost as well behavioral psychology trend. Like it's the same type of foresight. Look at the signals, the weak signals of what's showing up, and then you plot it out and go, that's where it's going to end up. And if that's where I want to be, how do we track back from that?
Yeah, I mean,
I
how
mean,
much
The Crocs, that was a signal at one point.
how much do you do that, right? Like, how much do you try and predict what the specific next trend is, and how much do you do just like 10 things that are cool and on the edge of current trend to see which ones stick? And like, is it exploratory or is it deliberate?
Definitely deliberate. A lot of it's luck. A lot of it's fun. I definitely have one of the best culture researchers, head of culture research, Agus Panzoni, what's up, in the game. But a lot of people think it's about forecasting. It's much more about being really present in the here and now, right? Because all the signals here. And it's really hard to like turn off all the blinders,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of our team try and remove all algorithms. Right. is based in New York. And then we've got people in Argentina, LA, and those little kind of pockets help of just walking around, getting a feel for it, right, to see what works. Then we go to the algorithm and see where things are sitting
wow.
at. Just because naturally the biases we're so influenced constantly, right? So you can be in a little niche scroll and the algorithm's like, hey, you really like this, and you're going to think this is popping off, but it's either way too early or way too old. And the big brands, we see this because they want to be really safe. The big brands, they don't want to be anything on the edge. And seeing some Kiwi brands now move into the TikTok space, right? And it's like, oh, like it's so saturated. You're way too late. There's no alpha there anymore.
Yeah.
But it's really safe. And if you're looking on a dashboard for a trend, you're kind of too late.
Yeah.
And so our photos are like the safe evergreen stuff, which is kind of cool. It's a bit edgy. And that's like our tourist model. And then we've got purists. Right, tourist pays the bills, real kitschy. People holding hands, drinking coffee in a cool way, and then the purist stuff is what drives the brand forward.
Yeah.
It's what creative directors want to look for because like that's leverage for a brand. We need to stand out.
And so as part of your model, though, that content is still fully creator-led, beautifully customized, real photographers, human beings behind the creativity. It's not AI-created content. Like, that's the distinction?
100%.
Yep.
All 100% human-made.
Yeah.
Now, where AI plays a role in generative AI, that's another topic we could get into.
But
We
that's not your world, right? But AI is powering part of your system. So where does it play a role in the product of Deathstalk?
Well, right now it was, could I remove 20% bullshit admin across the board, right? With all creators, right? If I give them 20% back brain power and just let them be creatives, because creatives suck at admin, right? Updating Asana, all these things, love you guys, but they all suck at updating Asana and everything, right? And so we started building agents just to remove all of that, right? As well as fueling really good conversation and prompts for us internally have helped. But all our ideas start human-led for sure.
Yeah.
And then AI can kind of take them, but hey, based on your core idea, we can start recommending things really fast because you need to see it to feel it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of aesthetic is upstream of the language, right? So it's really hard until we see it and it's, oh, now we can give it a name.
Yeah.
All right. And so that's where AIs kind of sit there. Now, in terms of generative AI, we are looking into the space, but we don't think, well, I can say that we are never going to generate AI images from scratch. It's really taking an existing image and altering it in that 3 to 5% space.
Yeah.
So that one image now has many lives. It can be a summer shoot, it can be a different industry, and that's where we want to help with applications.
Do you still use Recall to like run the business and?
Not when we use Read AI for a lot of, another good thing, everyone being remote, right? Now I'm talking to other people who have like in-person companies. Because our company is remote and we have so many different time zones, right? We try and work 24/7, hand off a brief when someone's just starting, but we have so many digital artifacts. Everything's in the group chat, everything's in Asana, everything's in briefs. So when we start introducing our agents to start learning about how we work, it was so much faster. Versus a company that's like, talking in the water cooler, talking in the kitchen. It's hard because it happens offline,
Yeah.
so how do you capture that?
So your business intelligence or your business wiki, if you will, is already digital first.
Well, we had to.
Yeah.
Right? It was like we had to have that constraint solved over the last 9 years.
Because you're online. And
Because we're online, right? We got no chance to just walk in the office and be like, hey, how do we do this? What are you doing here? It's like, no, summarize the brief. Where's the SOP documents for this? How do we do it? And so that's been a huge jumpstart for us. And so now we've just got agents scanning all our comms constantly.
And you must have used all of the generative
I've tried
models.
so much.
Like-
I've tried so much. It's ridiculous.
So Elon's doing his 1.75 trillion IPO, and he's
Who-
smashed
sorry, say that again?
Elon's
Oh, yeah,
doing
yeah.
his SpaceX IPO,
Yeah.
and he smashed Grok into SpaceX,
Yeah.
and Colossus as well, like Terrafab.
It's in all Teslas now. It's
Yeah.
wild.
and Cursor for some reason.
Yeah, and
Grok is unhinged.
yeah, it is.
No one should be using it.
I don't. I can't.
Or like, can you notice a difference, or are there methodologies? Because I keep seeing like the image generation quality, and Nano Bananas had this like, there's probably like 4 or 5 metrics you care about, like consistency, lighting, shading, realism, and noise. There's probably
Dude, this is the bane of my existence, right? Just when I think I found a model to build around, a new model comes out. And this is why platforms like Higgsfield and everything else, because they are like the front layer and they plug into like Seedance, ChatGPT's new image generation model, all these other ones, Nano Banana 1, 2, Pro, wherever we're at. And they kind of update what's best, which is kind of good. But we're at the whim of what the best model is constantly.
If the fact that, like, because I do quite a bit of image model assessment, the things that you're sort of trying to balance off are a semantic following in the prompt, right? So if I say this generic soft drink can is to the right of the microphone, does it actually appear to the right of the microphone? Especially if I'm doing something that's unusual, right? So the typical one is a wine glass that is completely full, because so much of the training data has a wine glass that is half full that it's practically impossible to get older models to do a full glass of wine. Or now that all hands are trained to have exactly 4 fingers and 1 thumb, a hand with 5 fingers and a thumb.
now
Right,
resists that.
It resists
because
that,
it's a
right? So
misstatement somewhere.
does the model follow that semantic instruction? Then the second one is how coherent is the world model itself, right? Like a really common issue with image models is that lines will sort of blend into each other. So if you've got like the edge of the microphone and I've got a line on my shirt, the model might like sort of see that. And then if you look, there's like a weird blending between the items when you, especially in the detail where the coherence of the objects doesn't match.
Yeah.
And then there's the aesthetics, like does it make pretty pictures. And generally those are in tension with each other. The more that you get a model that follows your semantic instruction, the less coherent it's capable of being and the less pretty the output is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've not personally found a model that's good at all three. Nano Banana is great at semantic following.
Yeah.
And
And have you-
decent at coherence.
Have you seen the paper about why? So it basically generates like it generates the composition. There's a part of the backbone that generates the composition. So you say a room full of podcasters goes, okay, well, podcasters on average is like 3 or 4, and typically there's 4, and it starts to itemize out all of the objects in the room.
Yeah.
So it generates a semantic list first, and then it will basically branch out and generate each object's appearance and adherence to the location as individual sort of, if you imagine layered images. So it'll generate a Shaun, just Shaun, nothing else. And then it'll generate a microphone for Shaun, and then it'll generate a table, and then it'll generate. So when you're describing move the shelf to the left, it actually has a composition in memory that it can then go back to the start and start relooping. So its composition control is really, and those problems like the hand problem and all of that goes away because you're not trying to get the final composition as a single image. You're actually compositing every object really fast into a single image. So eventually the next step for that is full 3D, because if you already have the semantic context for the image generation, then you got the semantic context enough for a 3D generation, and then final evidence that we all live in the simulation, right?
I was wondering where that was going.
Yeah.
So you stuck the landing.
We are in the simulation, right? Yeah.
As well as what the image is needed for, right? If you're trying to get to that minute detail, it's like, it might be irrelevant. But OpenAI's model is definitely passed all visual tests for us. It is really good right to the detail. It is insane.
Have you experimented with like?
It's really weird that they shut it down.
No, it's
Like they shut down Sora.
Oh,
Sora had this entire product line that was just Sam Altman shotgunning into the AI space.
Not a great brand, not a great promo. You know,
It's costing them like $1 million a day. They estimated like they were losing $1 million a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, generative AI, it's here to stay. It's going to be going everywhere. But I don't think it's also a tech problem. I think it's a culture problem, right? The mob of pitchforks, the creators with pitchforks online to dump on any AI product service that's using it is strong.
Well, there is, I mean, I understand, right? Because I think I've said it to you, I've definitely said it to a few people. If AI fails, it will fail because of the grifters that the market has attracted, right? Like
So it's crypto.
Crypto wasn't killed because it didn't have utility. There is some utility there. It was killed by the number of people who came in, not because they were looking for legitimate use, but were just looking for a way to sort of grift some money out of the new trend.
Tech and grifters go hand in hand, though.
They do.
Railroads,
Oh, money,
right?
money.
Railroads, fake railroad bonds.
Not just tech.
Yeah.
Like, can I sell you a bridge?
Yeah, Manhattan just sold quite a few times.
Yeah, I got a bridge to sell you. Like grifting is wherever there's opportunity. Whenever there's money,
But if I see
grifters.
enough people,
tulips.
Yeah.
Tulips in 16th century.
Podcast equipment.
Oh my God, podcasts.
all those other podcasts.
Podcasts.
Oh, God.
They're not grifted, I swear.
But like,
really
if I
good
see
jobs.
100 people who I really want to punch and they all tell me AI is the next big thing, then I start to second guess myself, right? Like, man, if I agree with so many people I dislike, maybe I should reevaluate my assessment.
Again, you can separate the art from the artist.
You
to a
can,
point.
yeah. But I mean, it's the same thing as
Well,
like,
the tech from the bro.
Yeah.
I want to circle back to what you were saying about the resistance. Within your team, especially being kind of very culturally connected, locked in, are they more likely to be early adopters, or would there some resistance within either your team or the creators you work with that you have AI as a part of your process, regardless if it's in the creative?
100%. If they are ops driven,
Yeah.
right? Creative ops driven, loving AI.
Yeah.
The creatives, not so much. Not because they're against AI, it's because so much, and I've analyzed a lot of their workflows, and we can't use AI for a lot of it because it's so fringe,
Yeah.
right? Like a little bit of research. Perplexity is probably the best for research I've seen in real time.
Yeah.
To build like a real quick summary of a really hot trend, because Perplexity is the only one that's using real time information that we found. Claude, everything out of the box, doesn't really do that. It's quite stale, but Perplexity's on the minute and understands trends and culture quite well. So it knows of to like take an idea to build reports for us to understand. That's good. But the creatives at the tip of the spear, not so much. Because I think if I introduce or I push them to adopt those creative tools, I think it's going to dull their edge a little bit, right? We see that some people, they get really too lazy,
Yeah.
and they let just AI run rampant into Asana, put updates here. And it's like, guys, you got to be vetting this. Don't give it full right access yet,
But you've seen, because you guys all use text AI all the time, right? And you've seen its inability to sort of go away from the mean. It's an averaging machine, right? Like it's giving you something that's super convincing, but it's very difficult to prompt AI to go outside its average bounds that it's painting for itself, right?
Reversion is the mean for sure.
And so the same thing happens in the image models. It's the wine glass thing, right? Like wine glasses are half full. That's just what wine glasses are.
Yeah.
So I could definitely imagine you having a problem. Like even if you're really explicitly prompting it to be.
That's why we'll use it to like build off our initial ideas, never use it to generate an idea.
Yeah.
Right. But it's really good at like giving you the dots. Humans need to connect the dots. We've never seen anything jump that kind of chasm so far.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked at like the embeddings of your different, what do you call the sets of photos that you do that are like
Projects?
Yeah. Because like one of the things early on in the process of running an image model, there's an embedder where it will take an image and turn it into like this multi-dimensional vector space where theoretically each vector is some conceptual thing that only makes sense to the AI model itself, right?
Yeah.
But the quintessential example is if you take the vector for king and you add the vector for female, it gives you the vector for queen.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So it's like all these semantic concepts are all mixed into this like theoretically this space that's like comparable and differentiable, and like you can say like how if this is this distance away from this, what is the thing that's this distance away from some other concept?
Yeah.
So it might be interesting to like, even if the AI won't do it, right? Because there's huge amounts of that vector space, the AI just won't explore it all, right? Like it's possible for it to conceptualize that thing, that semantic idea, but it will never get it there itself. But you could like take your vector space and then move it by human hands and say, what's that?
That's smart. That's why everyone should be a Rush customer. That's the kind of thing you pay for. Because we're doing something similar in search at the moment, trying to think about expanding on a search term all the way through based on user behavior.
When I think about semiotics and how humans interpret things like the meaning of color or proximity of human beings, like we could look at an image and know the relationship or take an estimated guess of a relationship between two people in a frame based on a couple of signals that most people don't think about it. We process them so fast. But if you were to try and create that feeling to be understood in an AI-generated image, you're just not going to get there. And there are these wonderful images like a person lying on a bed with pills spread out. There's like 5 different reasons a human would interpret that photo.
Yeah.
But you'd have to do something really specific in an AI to get that image and have it not be ambiguous. Does that make sense? And so you can take these beautifully creative images and insert them alongside a text or a blog or an article.
That's just limited by compute. So like the amount of time that it takes to generate an image, the only reason, like you can't do a wide binary kind of search on whether or not an image feels good or not is because we just don't have the compute. So I can imagine a system where you turn on your webcam and you kind of like use your facial expressions to indicate whether or not the current generated image is what you're after.
Yeah.
Or you speak into it and kind of say, I'm looking for this, and it just generates an infinite set of images and then sort of reduces down to the thing you're looking for. Right now, we have a manual step in between because it takes
as a few
orders of
people have
magnitude
pointed out,
seconds.
people aren't that good at explaining what they're after.
They
And
don't.
often it's the pairing. Like you often start with a written idea or a verbal, it's either a blog post or a website page, or it's a point you're trying to make. And the image pairs with it in a creative and novel way that makes your brain go, aha. And it's not that you decided that there was this perfect image that was going to match this perfect article. And that creativity there is what does the brain tingling thing that you can't get from stock.
There's actually a more cynical issue too, which is that people actually like the boring mean, right? Like these image models, they go through the same 2-stage training as LLMs do, right? They go through the general training where they like just predict the next image from this prompt, and they go wild, right? Like they come up with, but most of it's insanely ugly and not something you could ever use. And then they go through a reinforcement learning where it's like, okay, these two images, which one do you find more aesthetically appealing? These two images, which one do you find follows the prompt better? These two. And they're actually asking humans and going through that feedback loop of like refining the model to be more useful by constraining its explore space to be something that more people like. And the issue with doing that is they end up with a really specific style because people tend to like the same thing. They tend like...
Yeah, I think what we'll find is that the models today in 20 years, like if you went back and it's like looking at Windows user interface from like 25 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like the buttons are still all there, but they all look aesthetically different. I think you'll find that models, so if you could snapshot a model today and then waited 30 years and then use that model, it would generate everything in an out of trend way. The output will be kind of not cool.
Yeah.
Even
Although
though it looks good
too, right?
at the time.
Like, yeah, there are people who are manually creating the AI aesthetic, right? Like they're going out and like painting photos or taking photos or painting pictures or things that are deliberately trying to ape the generative AI image look.
Yeah. Also assuming that humans know what they want.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people coming in, like people are like, this is a great photo. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
Or it looks nice. It's like, well, why? Right? Why I want to look at it? I was like, great. Are you going to use it? Are you going to buy it? It's like, well, no. Would you use it for your brand? Why don't I have a brand to use? It's just a great photo. And these are a lot of the guys that are driving the image models.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's akin to like going shopping. Right. How often do you guys go shopping not knowing what you want?
All the time.
Right?
Not frequently.
And that store, when you go in, you're looking for inspiration, or you're like, hey, can you curate this image, whether it be a new season, what's hot, the celebrity wore it, whatever it is, to inspire me? You go, oh, I didn't think I wanted that. Now I want it. But I had to see it and feel it in this kind of merchandising environment.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And sometimes with our photos or visuals, we actually have to like dress them up or actually use them. Right? So people to get inspired go, oh, I want to wear that. I want to dress like that.
Yeah.
That's why we need models wearing these clothes. Right? We can't just say, hey, go design your own t-shirt. Go design your own jeans.
Yeah. You show me a reference first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or trust us, we know what's cool. And that's what a real fashion brand is.
Yeah.
You guys are ahead of the game. You guys know what taste is. Even if we're a bit skeptical on that neon green leather jacket, it's like, oh, but I trust you guys.
Yeah.
You guys have been early on a lot of things.
King's clothes,
I'm gonna jump in.
with the emperor's new clothes.
Yeah. Wear less.
I mean,
It-
New Zealand
there
folks,
is an
most
element-
people love the mean or the median or the average, but they also like it in a context. I want to see a boring image when I go to the news site or whatever. You want to show me a generic photo of a hospital to support an article. If I go into a fashion shop, I don't want to see the mean. Most people, and then as the customer, like,
Yes or no? They still like most people don't want to be too challenging, right? Like that. Conformity is comforting. There's a reason most people like conformity, right? Like you go into like it's not Forever 21, like quite a lot of fast fashion shops. They'll have like their edgy area of the shop, but even in the edgy area, it's not very edgy, right? Like it's like there's one more hole than there is, or like there's a slight asymmetric cut to one of the, but it's still pretty close to standard because people like that novelty. And the thing that's driving interest is also slightly uncomfortable.
It's the edge for their demographic, though.
Yeah.
It's a spectrum constantly.
Yeah. Also, you almost can't talk about edgy fashion or like what people would accept without also looking at like affordability and access. Like certain people have certain jobs and certain budgets.
No, come on. You've all seen Zoolander, Derelict.
Yeah.
Mugatu, the greatest fashion designer of all time.
References, bro.
Yeah. I mean, going back to like some of the designers we mentioned before, like Struli Recht made gloves from basking shark skin, right? So basking sharks have little thorns on them. He put the thorns on the inside of the glove, facing towards the fingers, so that you can put them on really easily because the thorns just bend out of the way. But when you go and try and take them off,
It's a Chinese trap.
It's a Chinese
finger trap.
the only way you can get them off is to cut them off. Right? Now that is super interesting. I love the concept.
That's high
But
art.
those are $1,000 gloves you can wear once and then are forced to destroy. Right? That is not something.
Not accessible.
Yeah, definitely on the outside of things. Yeah.
But what a great photo that would make.
Yeah.
That's why old BMWs are equally as trendy because you can drive them once and then you're forced to destroy it.
Yeah.
That is actually wild. I don't think that people are as boring as I think that people are forced into boringness through exhaustion. Like people
But
want
there's also
to.
there's also like the public, like clothes are an example where you have to stipulate to the rest of the world what you find interesting and how far you're willing to push the boat out. what you privately think, as we know by recent movements in politics and whatnot, is something completely different.
Everyone's
So-
fashionable in a different area of their life,
Yeah.
whether it be food. Everyone is kind of like a maven, or there's a Japanese word for it, otaku,
Yeah.
right? Like everyone is that in some area of their life, whether it be actual literal fashion, cars, food, maybe. Don't know everyone that well. I know it's you with cars, you know, but he's like on that top cutting edge, like I'm obsessed with the real fringe area of it. With me, I'm very vanilla and like mainstream with cars, you know, and so everyone's kind of got it
Yeah.
to some degree.
But you're right that there is an effort to maintaining that, whatever that is, right? Like,
Not at deathstock.com. We make it easy.
Not at debtstostock.com. He makes it easy.
That's death to stock.
it's effort or money, which is the proxy for effort.
Yeah.
And violence.
I mean, it's not easy for your guys, right? Like, you make it
No.
available to other people.
Exactly. Convenient. $19 a month.
Did you...
USD.
Side quest. Did you see the interview with Jensen Huang recently, and that podcaster interviewer, and he's basically like gets into an argument with Jensen Huang about why they shouldn't give China access to incremental compute, and Jensen Huang just like loses it. Like, it's the first time I've ever seen him kind of lose it, and he's basically like, no, both things can be true. We can give, compute to China, and it's not a big deal. And we should also restrict compute to China because it's kind of a big deal. And you're just like, what? What are you saying, Jensen?
Can we do a little bit of a tool read? This is for all of you. I'm going to name some platforms and tools, and I want you to kind of give a bit of a read on how you feel that they are performing, whether they're worth using or investing in, or whether they're kind of dying a death. Because you reference, there's a couple of tools that like seem like they're ahead of the curve, and it's like if you're just coming to it now, you're too late. So start with TikTok. Do you use TikTok?
I do not.
5 hours a day.
Yeah.
Just to show the spectrum.
Evidence L in Danu and Hamish are not cool.
Screen time, 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
And is it moving the needle for debtors? Are you saying it's still well performing overseas, or
For what exactly do you mean?
You use that as a
Relevance.
work tool.
But like,
as
so,
well.
like
Building cultural
Facebook
relevance.
is sort of famously now for the olds, right? Like, kids don't really use. I mean, I've never been a Facebook guy.
Facebook is severely underrated right now for a brand, I think.
wow, so it's gone so far off the deep end, it's come back around. And it's
Well, in terms of like paid ads and distribution, Facebook is massive.
Yeah, actually, their revenue performance
In
is...
terms of like TikTok, TikTok is probably the tip of the spear in regards to culture and what sits there, as well as it's really entertaining.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's amazing. Instagram is below, just after TikTok. If it pops off on TikTok, it's definitely going to work on Instagram. There's a bit of a delay there. And that's probably like at year 0, year 1. And then LinkedIn's probably at year 15. Right?
Yeah.
OpenClaw is probably just hitting LinkedIn now. Right? And they're kind of they're like, oh my God, OpenClaw, yeah. So there's like a massive delay. LinkedIn, I'm not a huge fan. But if you're a blue chip brand, like, you have to be on LinkedIn. You got to square it away. Russia's
you
really
have
great
to
job on
make
LinkedIn.
some of those choices where it's just like, it might help me from people would follow me and stuff, but it would actually ruin my appearance as a creative cultural icon if I have a LinkedIn page.
We're on LinkedIn for the last 2-3 years, and we have got like.
Don't you have like an AI avatar?
Oh, me personally, I'm not on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Company is but the amount of DMs we get from legit creative directors, right, or a legal team or a procurement team, like, hey, look, we want to get you guys on board. Recently, Airbnb came through LinkedIn, right, and so they're like, hey, we need to talk to you. And it was real natural to like cold DM on LinkedIn more than anything.
Yeah, it doesn't feel... It's a
Yeah.
professional space,
It's a
right?
professional space.
You're
right?
expected to network.
Yeah, you're meant to
Yeah.
cold DM people,
Yeah.
ideas, or reach out to people.
Yeah.
And so I think if the messaging is severely underrated on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Not so much the profile, I don't think.
Have you messed with OpenClaw? Can you get OpenClaw to run your LinkedIn?
I'm deep on Claude. I think the Claude setup I got now,
Yeah.
like, you got to heavily train memory and skill files, right? Because there's that reversion to the mean we're just talking about, and it's really hard to prompt it away for it.
Yeah.
And so you have to do it this way constantly, and naturally it just keeps going. And you got to do a second memory file and a second MD file just to make sure it doesn't go that way.
So, what's the social media platform that you do consider poison to a cool company?
The medium, you could be cool or tasteful on any medium. Newspaper, flyers.
Just has to be appropriate.
Just has to be a pro. You just got to adjust it.
Yeah.
As well as most of those social media companies are clients of ours, so I can't really
Fair.
dunk
How
on
do
any
you
of
feel
them.
about the
But I
change
think
of-
Pinterest is underrated, big time. I think Pinterest visual. Even we see now, like, the subconscious, when you see a visual pop up on our feeds, we're all monkeys. We see it and we're like, oh, I want to read this, but we see the photo before the headline.
Yeah.
right? So I think visually, I think it's big. Yeah, it's
No longer
Yeah,
just for people planning a wedding.
My latest hangout social media area is the comment section in the NZ Herald. Like,
dude, local, underrated, big time.
Underrated. I was going to say, how do you feel about the performance of Reddit these days?
I think Reddit, politically, it's been skewed and overtaken, I think. So like in terms of political or good discourse, you used to have it a decade ago, not anymore. But in terms of real fringe forums, it's still got it.
Yeah.
We definitely use it to analyze a lot of areas, right? We jump in, comment, see what's going on. Yeah, that's big.
Ooh, Discord?
Yeah, I was gonna, because Discord's quite closed, and so that leads into sort of the question that thought led me to, which is, because things are closing down over the last like 18 months, 2 years.
yeah, they're shutting up
With the increase in
agents.
AI, a lot of these platforms are increasingly limiting access to the content on those platforms, right?
Yeah.
And so the biggest problem with Discord is no one has access to all of Discord, right? Like you've got to invite yourself, you've got to get invited to the various forums, and they're very closed user groups.
Yeah.
So like, have you noticed a transition of culture into more closed groups?
Definitely the holy grail is a really good group chat. Right? There's don't know his name, one of my favorite guys, Friends with Benefits founder, product guy. He's just launching a service where you can subscribe to other people's group chats. Right? And it's all anonymized, right? Where people are talking from investment bankers. It's like a lot of good drama. And there's great group chats going, hey, should we
benefits?
It's a really cool
Even I know that one.
I'm looking.
Something to do with pineapples and bananas.
FWB. They go by FWB, a really cool creative collective. They've got a great token, and they just do all these great festivals, panels around the world. Great
In
company.
New Zealand?
No, globally, based out of New York.
Yeah.
But the guy who started it is a real good product guy. Right? Do you guys know Lil Michaela, the AI or the CGI avatar from like 5-6 years ago?
Oh no.
Way before he started that, which was way ahead of the trend. But being able to subscribe to other people's group chats, just was like, that's such a simple, great idea.
It's kind of like Clubhouse, but like
Very early Clubhouse.
Do you think Clubhouse was just a little bit too ahead of its time?
nah.
I loved Clubhouse. I was obsessed with it.
It was just niche.
I got a really good early invite, and I was able to listen to some chats that I was like, I shouldn't be in this group chat right now to listen to. Yeah, it was really good.
I don't need to know where the nuclear weapons are.
Yeah. But just having two creatives, just talk
it out.
about something, and these are massive, you know, and you're just there listening to this little secret conversation. It's not recorded, it's live. And then when Elon came on that one day, everyone just stopped and listened to Elon talk. Right?
Which is like the modern version of random celebrity doing an AMA on Reddit.
Correct.
10 years ago.
Yeah, but it was not recorded. Obviously, this was pre-AI, so nothing could be scanned, nothing could be pulled. So it's like it's one little like live TV. We all grew up with live TV, and it's gone. But when you watch live TV, you feel less alone. It's like like if Jurassic Park was on tonight at 8 p.m., even though you've seen it 100 times, you're like, it's alive. Everyone, it's just a weird feeling. Everyone in New Zealand's watching this right now.
Yeah. And it's a moment in time. If I walk away from the screen, I can't go back.
Yeah.
Unless someone's hit record, and then I don't know. Up scrolled, blue sky. What do you think about the shoot off in response to a platform that's not performing?
I'm the wrong guy to ask. I've never been big on Twitter.
I think the only one that's done it over the last decade is probably Threads.
Yeah.
Right? Twitter's still the best. X is still the best, hands down. But Threads is fun. Right? I think they're the only ones actually done that kind of offshoot.
Yeah.
I mean, Mastodon and Blue Sky, I think, will be around for a long time because they've built specific niches that's the place to hang out for those niches.
Yeah, I think it might be.
I don't think they'll ever replace Twitter as like the global place everyone hangs out.
No, yeah.
Because they've specifically positioned themselves as this is the place where Nazis can't come.
Yeah, it's very
Right?
political interest.
Yeah.
That's what drove Threads, right? It was when Elon bought, it was a very smart decision by Zuck and the team, but it was like when Elon bought X, it was like, if you're anti that, come here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone was canceled.
Yeah, everyone needs an opposite, right? I came up with this idea. I was like, when Elon bought Twitter, I was like, man, someone should create a new platform called Bitter. Because
Kind of what Threads is, to be honest. Everyone's got better.
because you'd attract an audience, you know? Like,
Wasn't the reason Elon Musk bought Twitter?
because he was bitter.
Yeah.
I was like, just rename it. Yeah. There's this there's a whole bunch of car communities and stuff like that. Because we used to just use forums all hot out. And when you need to know what the torque setting is for like a control arm on a 1988 5 Series right-hand drive,
Torque, TORQUE.
that information that information is not, it's not straight, it's very accessible. It's not straightforward to get, but that live chat ability is gone where you're like having a car problem and you're like describing what it is and like, yeah.
But that's personally, like, I don't like the move from public forums to Discord. Well, I'm getting serious, so I'm going to get really close to the microphone. I don't like the transition from public. I understand why. Like, I understand the incentives that are like, I don't want all my knowledge to be just sucked up by every AI manufacturer and monetized. But it's that searchability and referenceability, right? Like, so much 3D printer development and like the things that I just play with as hobbies. Like, if you weren't in the chat at the time someone was talking about it, it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
There's not that global informational overbrain that's like holding
Hive
all the
brain.
hive mind. That's the word I was trying to think of. That's holding all of humanity's knowledge.
Yeah, even Stack Overflow, you know, like these AI code gen things, like the experience of Stack Overflow is not properly reflected in Claude Code.
Yeah.
Even though Claude Code outperforms, I can immediately tell that in 5 or 6 years we're going to regret using it as much as we've used it.
Yeah.
Because like there are already job titles popping up on LinkedIn of like
that's the
vibe coding
cleanup
specialist.
Yeah.
Like it's a thing. It's absolutely a thing.
What's between that and a normal code cleanup specialist for juniors?
You don't have one. It's not typically been a role. It's
Yeah.
because the production of code, it's kind of one of those things that you've always had to have clean structured code as you go.
Yeah.
Because the rate at which you produce working code is limited enough that you can clean as you go. You can structure it as you go. But now what's happened is like you can output orders of magnitude more code that you now need to come back in and kind of go, well, that's fucked, that's fucked, that's fucked, that's going to be fucked.
And this is like, again, we were talking about it on the loop back listen to the loop back. Reading code is harder than writing code.
Yeah.
Right. When you're writing code, you're encoding a thought process you're currently having. Right. And so you've already thought about how you want the software to work and you're just writing it down. Whereas if you're reading code, you have to try and do that process, right? You have to look at the output and think, well, what was the thought process that produced this code? Does that code match that thought process or not? It takes a lot longer to that, like even for your own code. I've gone back to code I've written 6 months or a year ago, and it's taken me like days to figure out what I was doing. And it worked. It was perfectly functional. I just couldn't figure out how it functioned. And then afterwards I was like, that's really clever. Never do that again. It's way too complicated. Too clever code is a problem. And it's something that seniors have to watch out for, where they write code that's really clever. Like one of the things it's called is code golfing, like trying to write the thing in the smallest number of instructions, right? But like you end up with this code that's really clever, but completely unreadable. And so when anybody comes along, including you, maybe 6 months later, you can't figure out what it was trying to do or how it works anymore, right? And so with vibe coded stuff, you've got this huge torrent of code, right? And you don't really know why any of it's there. It takes if you want to completely understand it and completely confirm that it's correct, it takes longer than if you just wrote it yourself. And so everybody who uses AI for coding, they're using their knowledge and heuristics to just pick on certain bits of it and only check those bits. No one who uses AI code is like extensively reading through and checking every single line of code and making, doing that back process. They're looking through and going, well, I know this is the sort of code that generally goes wrong. This area of, all of the boilerplate, it's probably fine. It looks fine. I don't need to spend a long time on that. Here are the areas that I know can get us into trouble, and I'll only do that analysis on those pieces.
How do you think AI is going to solve that though? Because it'll be being worked on right now.
I actually think there's a massive blind spot because a lot of the tech bros that produce and manufacture AI, they've probably I would be really surprised if there was a substantial enough amount of them that have worked on really complicated software. So, I have had a very colorful experience with my coding. I started off very close to computers, low level programming, handling millions of lines of code in the application to try and get an application to run at 16 milliseconds, usually modifying an open source operating system, usually writing kernel modules, writing game engine, modifying Unreal Engine, all kinds of stuff.
We're just looking at his hand.
I'm doing it very softly. But like the complexity of that code and the objective of writing, that handling that one point, like we used to have build times that were in days. So you hit build, and this is on a very powerful, at the time, workstation, and you would literally just wait days for the build to be finished just to be able to test it. And I don't think a lot of the people who are using a lot of these coding tools are actually handling very large or sophisticated code bases. And, you know,
And it doesn't necessarily have to be valuable, right? Like you can, like we use, vibe coding. I vibe code shit all the time, right? If it's for me personally and it's a small piece of code, awesome. It's perfect for that. And like if something goes wrong, I'm the one using it. So I can be the one that's like, oh, that's wrong, and then go off and fix it, right? I think it's already getting better, right? Like it used to be you would have to check every line that AI wrote because 2/3 of it would be wrong. It is getting better over time, but I don't think you're ever even for humans, right? Like we have these really complex systems that try and deal with the fact that we can't really do what we're trying to do with these incredibly complex systems either. Like, we still make mistakes. But the rule of thumb I use, to your point of like, have they written, like Claude Code is shit. Like the actual tool that you're using, like the LLM behind it, incredible. The tool that you're using, buggy and like text glitches out all over the place, and it just like and they
thought it was a good idea to do it as like a CLI.
That's a human design decision. But like if Anthropic can't make good code with their tool, why would anybody think anyone else could write good code with their tool, right? So that's like my benchmark. Like when is this a completely solved problem and we can just vibe code and never have to worry about the output? It's when the people who are making these LLMs are exclusively using them and the output is good.
Yeah, right.
And it's the same quagmire with Anthropic. This is not to oversimplify or like be disparaging about what they've achieved. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. But you've got OpenAI producing Mythos for cybersecurity and claiming, all of these massive vulnerabilities. And when you look at the vulnerabilities, they are impressive that they've discovered them. But in the real world, they mitigated with a couple of configuration changes. The volume of vulnerabilities is a substantial problem. That's actually the problem. It's not that it's uncovering these vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities are like, whatever. Like you can crash my box. So what? That's been around, DDoS has been a thing for God knows. And it's just the volume that will be a problem. But then you've got the same company that's calling for a state of emergency around cybersecurity, losing the code to like publishing the code to their coding tool online. So they can't even get an engineer or an agent or an AI to stop them from publishing their IP. And they still can't get access control right. It turns
Are
out
we really dunking on the fastest growing company of all time?
Yeah, 100%.
In a podcast?
100%.
Okay.
Anthropic is a really frustrating company because they do these incredible things. And then they, from my point of view, ruin them by overhyping them. Like, because the thing that they're doing is super impressive, but only to people who understand
what overhyping.
So they recently said, we've written this whole compiler by ourselves. Not even close. Right, there was a whole bunch of caveats that they completely stripped out of that. What they had done was incredibly impressive. They'd run an agent, 20 days without it needing too much guidance. But they'd said like there were things in there like a human didn't have to interact at all. And in the paper, that's completely false. He had to multiple times. He had to guide it in the right direction to get it. Right, so it's sort of like the equivalent of like a man, runs around the world. Right, people do that sometimes. They obviously don't run around the whole world. There's oceans and shit. And so occasionally they will get on a boat. Occasionally they will sleep, right? Everyone understands it's still an impressive feat to just spend that. Like very few people can do that. And the people who can, it's an incredibly impressive thing. But then if you put out a press release that was like, man ran across the ocean in 4 hours, right? Because it's just wrong. Like the way that they're summarizing this incredible feat is...
It's not wrong. He ran. Yes, he has to abide by the laws of the universe. Which we all know exists.
But
the commercial reality of it is it create, you're writing checks that you have to cash later. In the same way that, mental health has been substantially affected by social media. By, not actually taking an objective view and saying, hey, we've created this model. It's objectively the best model that's ever been created in the whole world.
And it's life-changing.
It's
revolutionary.
It's revolutionary.
And we just getting started, and it's the worst it's ever going to be is today.
We don't know that.
What is?
You don't know that.
Well, look at the history, where it is, how AI is moving.
Shaun, as soon as you can explain how a 75,000 dimension vector space works, I'll believe you.
I'll push back on one thing.
Go for it.
Right? You guys are both master chefs, right? In that regard. right? And you guys are dissecting really important details that's really important around how to sear a fish, reverse sear, really important details that a very small community really care about, right? And we're arguing against maybe something in terms of like McDonald's, the mass production of something, right? And McDonald's is getting really, really good and really sharp, especially where it was from the 1956 to now, right? But I think it's two ends of the spectrum because the product community I talk to, product guy myself, we're absolutely in awe of it because we've never been able to code before, but we know what our customers want.
Yep.
Right. And so if all of a sudden I can mass produce this hamburger that takes over globally and master chefs are coming and going, hey, this burger sucks. Too many fucking pickles, not enough cheese.
Yeah, I don't think we're saying it sucks. I think we're saying they're selling an expectation. I think
you just said it's one of the worst things.
No, I think
you know what it's like? It's like when the meat people are like, you can't call it meat because it's beyond meat and it's not really meat. It's like, it's still pretty fucking, it tastes like meat.
Yeah.
And the person who eats the burger still believes it's meat.
Code is like the actual interface. Yeah. It's bad. Like there's no deny. Like the
not the engine, not the model.
Yeah.
Like that's the magic, and we're like in awe of the
so
magic.
you're saying it's bad. Just for the record, you're saying it's bad.
The user interface is bad.
The actual thing about that is they're not using AI to write that completely, right? Like Claude Code is not completely AI written.
Does that matter to you?
Well, it matters in like your original question was like, are LLMs like going to solve the problem of needing to understand the code, right?
Right.
If they are currently not producing a tool that isn't glitchy and horrible, then there is still a room for improvement, right? Like there is still a measurable. It's not just I've got a machine that makes hamburgers. I've got a machine that makes hamburgers, and 1 in 100 is raw.
How many hours a day are you using Claude?
3 or 4.
Yeah. Okay. Code?
No, mostly exploration of ideas.
Chat? Co-work?
Chat. Yeah.
Chat. Okay. Yeah. We're on it probably 5-6 hours a day, co-work and code.
Yeah.
Code is absolutely magic to me.
Same.
Right? Like what we've been building.
Because we couldn't before.
Yeah, and like the way so much I've learned about code has been from Claude Code.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is, but also I've just started cooking.
When Dario says this is, that he's going to forecast it all the way to AGI, I actually believe him.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool, you know what you're talking about. But when they go, hey, this is going to be this is going to create a huge cybersecurity problem for everybody, and everyone needs to be terrified, and China's going to destroy the world. I don't think that's helpful. I don't think they even need to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all still going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Like, what? Why? Why do you have to hype it? Like,
to go back to your metaphor, right? Like you're able to make hamburgers you've never been able to make before, right? But Anthropic is out there saying, if you use this, you are a master chef, right? Like anybody who tells you are not producing the best burger in the world is lying to you. Right. And everyone else is saying, no, it's incredible that it can make hamburgers, right? This has solved world hunger. This is an incredible thing, but it's not making you a master chef.
And to get a bit dramatic, right? And this is an overstatement, but it's a good example of why probably Hamish and I have this view. It shows up in ways where people get hurt. Boeing 737 MAX, right? And the Challenger disaster.
Yeah.
These are all ethics tutorials for engineers, because engineers get stuck in the rock and the hard place, because expectations get set to be unrealistic, and then pressure gets applied in businesses to go, you need to do this thing by then. Screw all of this shit, because you know what, some other commercial reason means that I'm not going to listen to you as an engineer. When you have to push back and go,
tech advancement in general, or
technology in general,
net positive or net negative, or
net positive, progress. But you don't need to risk lives for progress, right? There is no justification for unnecessary risk, right? You can accept the risk.
What's unnecessary? What percentage? What's the risk calculation? That's the hardest thing, right?
Yeah, it is probably a consensus from morally and ethically aligned engineers building the thing. The people who are responsible for building the thing, if they say, hey, no, we should have 2 angle of attack sensors, because every single commercial airliner in the world in all of human history has had 2 angle of attack sensors, because we need.
I don't know what that is.
The Boeing 737. Okay, maybe, so the Boeing 737 MAX, basically they had 2 sensors. Right. Most planes have 2 sensors to figure out which way the nose is pointing.
Yeah.
Right. The AOA software, the guidance software that nosedived the plane and killed 600 people after 3 crashes was basically a commercial decision to say, hey, we're only going to take data from one of the sensors. This has never been programmed in all of history. You can guarantee, absolutely guarantee, and it has been noted that the engineers all push back, but the commercial expectation is what drove a bad outcome. And I actually foreshadow that we're doing the same thing again. We're going to go, hey, the world can be changed. Now you can write nuclear control software. You can write a nuclear power plant control software using that, because the expectations have been set by someone who does understand the limitations to someone who doesn't understand the limitations, who then forces someone who does understand the limitations to do something that they shouldn't. And that's how you end up with bad juju. And these are all completely avoidable.
How
I
many
promise
photos
you.
are you? How many people are you going to kill with your photos, Shaun?
Hey, it's just a healthy conversation.
Just wondering how deep we wanted to go into that with the political who should drive it, because I know that's really important with Anthropic right now. Who should decide where an LLM is kind of
I
politically?
Yeah,
or
Dario is my guy because
commercially driven.
he's good. Yeah, look, like you
Should make
said,
those decisions.
yeah, he's
Not an elected individual.
I don't know, man. Like each to their own. I don't know. China seems
We
to
just
be
said
running all right.
commercially driven actor.
I said morally aligned. So whatever the majority consensus is, right? Like that's kind of how humans and apes work.
The
pretty
better-
grey morally.
Probably the
Yeah, but
morally
it's the
aligned.
best of the shittiest options, isn't it? Like,
the example more people might be familiar with is full self-driving on Teslas, right?
weightless in cities.
No, on Tesla specifically.
Oh, okay.
Elon Musk went out and said, "This is software that will drive your car. You can go to sleep, and your car will drive you safely."
Did he say
to you."
that?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
but they call it
Right.
full self-drive.
And then he had
Was
to go
it
back
self-
and like he said. The problem is he said
Were you not in
two
that room
things.
chat when he's...
Yeah.
He said 2 things. He knows what the truth is, right? He's like, except, like, here's an asterisk.
Yeah.
Like, because he's a salesman too, right? So he wants you to get excited about this cool thing. And he's legitimately excited about this cool thing that he's built. He's like, this is, and so he goes slightly too far, right? Like he overcommits on the
Like any
actual
CEO does,
capability.
I think.
Like
Yeah,
most
yeah,
CEOs.
yeah,
it
yeah,
does,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Sprinkle a little,
Yeah.
little zest,
Yeah.
a little flavor.
Yeah.
So it's just like, how far do you go on that, like pushing too far?
Puffery, right?
Yeah.
But they've also clocked
Because
it. Like
the
Anthropic,
mere
like you said-
puffery is like illegal to.
Yeah.
But like Anthropic have clocked it. Like they got to 100% of like max clocked, and then they added more. And I was like, you didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
You just didn't need to do it. You were already winning. You're still winning.
Yeah.
We're still all going to buy it. We're still all going to use it. It's still going to change our lives. But you maybe put someone at risk or a business at risk, or you probably created some unnecessary risk for somebody else because you just couldn't leave it, like just take it down one notch where you could have just let it sit, and not lost anything. Because if he had said, hey, we've developed a new model, it's creating a whole bunch of cyber risks, we need the community to decide what to do with it, right? Similar approach.
What he's doing right now
Similar-
with Mythos, right? Bring the little cyber heads in.
He's done Project Glasswing and he's brought in but what the fuck is JP Morgan Chase in there? Like, I mean, I get Microsoft, I get Amazon, I get Google, but these are all companies that you're just like, they do have to patch the browsers but
The flip side.
JP, like,
is-
really? Shouldn't it be the largest bank in America that, does the most transactional banking and has the highest surface area to cyber? If that's actually your attention?
What do you mean? They'll be Chase, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Who's
not
the
even
biggest?
close. Citibank, Bank of America.
Yeah.
A
What
lot
do you
of
think about
companies.
Andreessen's countertake, which was them using AI to fire people under the guise of just overhiring during COVID?
I think that's fairly obvious, and I think it's kind of weird, like, if you truly believe that AI can completely enhance a human role, right, then you're just cutting IP by letting people go instead of just retooling them.
I mean-
and if your company hired them incorrectly, like they slipped through, and they're not actually that good, that AI ain't gonna fix that shit. Like,
The workforce is shifting. I remember there was a recent World Economic Forum statistic, and I'm gonna botch it, so excuse the actually wrong numbers, but it was something to the effect of globally 190,000 roles have been displaced, but 250,000 roles have been created. So the workforce is moving. I don't think AI is going to be a stripper of workforce like...
I think government.
But if an individual company can let go thousands of people and they would train for that one job, that's a problem because that's a skill gap.
They should do one simple thing, I think, but the world will never do it because we don't have unified tax, so this will never work. You should have to pay 12 months redundancy. If you are restructuring because of AI,
I think Block did that.
yeah, that was
Block-
probably the
Block
best
did
thing
a
that
Yeah, 40% of their workforce, but
Yeah.
Jack has always been early.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I loved your analogy with remember the farming we spoke about?
Yeah.
You know? And I think I use that analogy a lot where Daniel was talking about what percentage of the world were farmers before the invention of the tractor, right? It was 80%.
Yeah.
Right? Agricultural revolution, tractors came in, chainsaws came in, and then what percent was after that? It was like single digits, right? It was like 8, 10%, something really, really tiny. What happened to the entire labor workforce? Right? New societies, cities grew, everyone got really
jobs.
rich, everyone didn't have to worry about starving anymore. What did that unlock? And I think that's still a big question mark in the labor force.
Yeah.
I mean, if you follow the doom case through, it kind of doesn't make sense anyway, right? Like,
What's the doom case?
well,
Like,
everybody,
Oh, yeah,
everybody
yeah, yeah,
loses their jobs,
That's
and
Apocalypse
then
is
it's
a
just
great name,
it's
by the
just
way.
AI selling stuff to AI and no humans involved anywhere in the process. It's like cool, but then so like humans, humans are still gonna want stuff.
Project?
No.
So they released a marketplace just for the internal employees to start negotiating and selling items within their workplace.
Oh, that's so cool.
And they got released. 6% eBay, boom. On the announcement on Twitter, right? Because you think about how much time is wasted. You sell cars, buy cars, right? How much time is wasted.
Oh, God.
But if you have an agent built, okay, this is how I deal with it. You know what a real buyer looks like. This is how they might ask. And just have all the agents figure that shit out.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, oh, that would work in a marketplace.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah. And so Claude does definitely have an insane amount of power. And you're right in terms of they do overpromise things. You know, they're like, they'll sell something, you go try and connect it. And the sign, I was using the Adobe connection today. So shit. No offense. But like, love you,
Oh,
Adobe.
yeah, client.
Buy us one day, thank you. But like, it was so bad. Canva's another one. Oh, I don't love Canva. We got
And
but Canva's another one. Their connector came out. Everyone jumps in. I was like, you guys overhyped it way too much.
Hey Canva, his dad can beat up your dad.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what AI can't do. Can't pick up my kids from school.
Yet.
Not yet.
Waymo's
But
Actually,
it can give them
actually,
psychotherapy in 10 years' time when
humanoid-
they're dealing with
when
it.
humanoids and AI, then I kind of believe the doom scenario might be a bit closer because then we're fighting robots.
How do you guys feel about the anti-AI crowd eventually looking for that one kind of like linchpin that converts them? Right? So everyone is like anti-AI, and then it's like, oh, well, I don't have to negotiate when I sell my cars. Like everyone's got like a wedge to convert them.
I completely agree. There's a couple of camps that I am in because of the life I've had and the place I live. There's the sustainability crowd. You're not interested, not even a bar, because data centers are going to fuck the water supply. And it's like, but it could also solve the problems that are going to kill us before the
I mean, weird argument
so
there.
there's that
yeah.
one. The
mean,
other
don't
one
like-
is the creativity argument that you come up against, and it's how do you enable creators to do the thing they're actually really good at when they're trying to make a living in a world that is run with admin,
Right.
and it's the admin removal.
Yeah.
So those are the two, and I think when you show them the thing that will remove their biggest pain or their biggest cross to bear, and it's often
cure
not
the
the thing
illness.
they're passionate about.
Yeah.
They feel they're about to lose the thing they're passionate about.
Yeah.
What you need to show them is the thing that you're passionate about can be even greater and more well dealt with than ever possible if you solve your biggest pain point.
Yeah.
And a pain point might not have anything to do with that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anyone who's like, unless they're like really unethical, which I can understand, right? Like there's vegans, and I theoretically I should be a vegan based on, you know, feelings. I just really like meat. But
And, like,
Yeah, you do.
and gloves made of the skin of some
of sharks, endangered sharks. Fuck, where was I going with it?
You should be a
Veganism.
You should be a vegan.
Right. So
You committed to
people
being a vegan for a
generally
year.
push against AI. There are some people who push against it on ethical grounds, but if you give someone a genuinely well-integrated solution, and that solution happens to be driven by AI, most people don't push back on that, right? Like a lot of pushback is like, you haven't added AI in a way that gives me any value,
Yet. Yeah. Like,
right?
isn't it?
So there's a load of things where it's like, hey, for stock, because it pumps our stock by 30%, we've added a bunch of AI features badly into an app in a way that doesn't actually save you any time, but does let your boss say, how come it's taking you the same amount of time it took yesterday? There's an AI button there, right? That's obviously people are not going to, you know, dig with, you know, gel with that. They're going to find it annoying. But if you give them a solution, like you say, like, we've negotiated, I don't know, negotiating, there's a whole trust thing. But I mean, everyone, if you gave them a product and like they really liked it, that solved a problem, you would like, hey, you know, there's AI underneath it. They'd be like, okay, cool, I don't care. Something done.
I feel like anyone that's anti-AI, it's probably out of fear. Like it's a visceral reaction that says something that I care about or I'm doing is going to go away because some machine is going to come and take it away from me.
When was the last time you think we felt like this in society? Or in our generation?
Internet,
COVID.
yeah,
Cell phones?
COVID and the toilet paper thing.
I love how you say our generation.
Yeah.
I love that you have no idea how old we are.
Oh.
When's,
When's
Like you're in your 40s.
Well, about to be 40 next year.
Oh,
He's a
bless, you've
handsome
got great
man.
stuff.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Korean skincare is great.
Also a customer.
Shout out
Shout out.
Shout out Paulie for buying me.
But I think it's a fear. Like any bad, like I don't know. There's a tidal wave coming, and like it. You just look at it, and it's a magical machine. AI is so
He
incredible.
said you're either part of the steamroller, you're part of the road. And if you're in the steamroller, you can direct it. Like we don't want to run over people.
Yeah, but then you look at who's driving the steamroller.
Yeah,
It's
that's the-
Elon Musk and
That's the
a
problem.
bunch of other people that.
It's always pioneer driven though, or tech.
Yeah,
And all the
there's-
pioneers are going to be rewarded. And
There's
people aren't
risks,
so
it's
much.
life and
Yeah.
death and all of that stuff. But I feel like we've learned those lessons so many times, and we live in an information age. We can do this better.
Is there anyone else you need to shout out before we close? Is there anything else you want to leave us with?
You've
In-
got to
in
wear
the
the
era
sunglasses.
of like intense creativity and humanity.
Please close us out.
You put on.
No.
Intense creativity, authenticity, humanity meets an AI future. What do the next few years look like for you?
Focus on taste. Become an editor. AI is not going to kill you. Embrace it. I think we definitely are going to double down on, like, we are visual people. We are visual monkeys. That's part of the lizard brain, and that's kind of like what we're building the company around. And it's not going to change. And our why is always going to be: can we give brands access to a cultural moment, whether it be a stock photo, AI, generative AI, stock music, wherever we go? It's kind of going to be like, can people join the cultural conversation? And we're going to double down on that.
Beep, beep.
Beep, beep.
Peace out.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, guys. Love you all. Bye.
Thank you, Shaun.